Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Big up, people. How you doing? Welcome back to the show. 12th man's back. Transfer talk is back, but it's going to be an Arsenal special because, boom, just like that, there's an on-steam bomb earlier, and that means we can start to get a little bit excited. The Euros is over. The Copa America's over. It means it's the transfer window now. Pre-season very, very much upon us. I have got two fantastic guests to talk all things Arsenal with. Big up, Igal. It's been too long, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. I think it's been it hasn't been that long. It's only been like 3 weeks since I jumped on randomly.
It's too long, man. That's long enough.
There you go. I was gonna say you need to hook me up with that beard trimmer because that looked pretty good, and that was probably one of the best adverts I've seen midstream ever before.
Listen, I appreciate that, my bro, and I also am gonna do a little plug for that in a minute. So it's a nice little segue. But first of all, Alex is back in the house for the Wrong Football. What are you telling me, bro?
Oh, I'm good, man. Good. I was doing the same as the gal. Look at how sharp your beard is, man, compared to mine. And I need some of these acting classes off you, Dan. I've got some catching up to do. Career change, maybe.
EastEnders have been on the blower the whole time, mate. Do you know what I mean? I've been putting down phone calls. It's like, look, I don't want to go and be the next Ian Bill. Do you know what I mean? But listen, it's absolute pleasure. Listen, great to have you both on. Big up to everybody in the chat. Make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you've hit subscribe, and make sure that you've gone over to Manscaped. All you got to do is click the link. The 20% code will already automatically come off of the Beard Hedger. So make sure you go and get some beard trimmers and support our sponsors, Manscaped. That would be class. Make sure you check out the last video as well. Myself and Tom have literally just had a quick chat as well that's gone up about Nico Williams and Mikel Merino. Some really interesting news and a great show last night with him. So big up to Tom Cannon. Always a pleasure speaking to him as well. We're going to talk all things Arsenal. We're going to talk about Calafiori. We're going to talk about Merino. We're going to talk about Williams. We're going to talk about Gyokeres because it is really hotting up now. And it sounds like Arsenal could be in for a potentially exciting transfer window. Igal, let me start with you. Before we go to any players, before we go to any individuals that you would like to see or a dream window scenario, how are you feeling right now after we're starting to finally see some news come our way? Because it's been quite a slow start, my bro.
I always call for calm. Calm. Everyone needs to just stay calm because it doesn't matter. I made this wonderful analogy the other day, and I think I'm going to say it again. It doesn't matter which order you get your groceries in, as long as you get everything that's on your list come the end of the, before the store closes, right? And in this situation, the transfer window is going to close, and as long as we still have enough time on the clock, why are we stressing? I feel like everybody's worried and panicked and obsessed with the fact that we haven't made a signing, and it's July 24th, and preseason is about to begin. Well, preseason doesn't necessarily have the same approach as we were looking at a couple years ago. A couple years ago, we were still trying to get the team to understand how they're going to play. We were still trying to get the team to understand what the best team is, who the best players are. We're trying to get an identity. We were trying to discover ourselves, similar to how Chelsea, Man United are trying to do right now. But we already kind of have an idea what we are. We already know who the best players are. We already know the pecking order of who the most responsible individuals in this team are. Now, preseason seems like it's going to be used as an opportunity to just get the young players to see who's ready to make that step up. And as for transfer signings, calm, because Calafiori is an amazing signing already, looking like that's going to come through the door. And what else is in store? I'm very intrigued to find out because I do think we're going to make at least 2 more signings that are going to go straight into the first team and make a big difference.
Listen, it's going to be a real interesting coming weeks, Alex. I've got to come to you, my bro. I don't really know why it's been slow, but it has been. And I wanted to ask you why you think it's been slow yourself in terms of what your reasoning for that is. And whether you have started to get a little bit more excited with some of the news today.
Yeah, we needed something through the door. I don't mind what order it's in, like a gal says, but we needed something. I think pre-season's always that kind of time where if the fans get hyped, I think that brings the good energy for that first game of the season. The first opener of the Premier League. That's what we need. We're not going to be in the Community Shield this year, and that was the big opener. And we had Timber ready for that one last year, and that was great. I would say probably the reason that we're taking so long for signings to come through is the same as everyone else. PSR is making a big difference. Outgoings for us look like most of them are going to be loans with obligations to buy because no one can really that now. And it looks like a lot of clubs are kind of teetering on this line of how do we structure deals now? Euros hasn't helped. The Copa America hasn't helped. So we're not the only ones. You look around at all the big teams and our like main rivals, let's be honest, none of them are kind of going out with big deals. The only kind of deal City really have done is from one of their own City group. So I'm not too worried. It'll be what it'll be.
It will, man. And listen, it's funny because me and the gal don't always agree with it when it comes to Arsenal football, but that analogy really did hit home with me, right? And I'll tell you why. I was with a friend literally a couple of nights ago now, and he said, look, it's a nice evening. Do you want to come chill around a fire pit? I said, yeah, of course, man. So I went round to his, literally lived around the corner from me, and his boy, who's like 12 years old, I won't say their names. And he's like, oh, we're missing marshmallows. That's the only thing we're missing. We've got everything else. So I was like, look, we live over the road from like a Lidl. I said, come on, let's come with you. And literally it was 2 minutes to 10 and it was going to shut. So gal, you're right, man. It doesn't matter if it shuts last minute, as long as you get all the ingredients, man. So that was mad. The way you put that analogy there, I was like, wow, that was literally happened to me like 2 nights ago. It was like 21:59 and the marshmallows were on the conveyor belt. So there we go, man. Maybe we'll have a last minute signing that Edu and Arteta will make. But listen, we might as well start with...
Another thing is we don't need the quantity of signings that a Chelsea or Man United or Tottenham need.
I agree.
And to be fair, we're still showing massive ambition to try to improve our defense, which a lot of people deem not necessary, but we can all agree left back was a problem last year. Mm-hmm. And it looks like that might be solved with Calafiori. So I'm quite excited. And the most entertaining part of this transfer window so far is everyone's like, Arsenal's not going to sign nobody. To Arsenal, why are they signing one of the best defenders on the market? Liverpool fans are frustrated because they were linked to him. Chelsea were linked to him. And the best part about it is we seem to be scaring people and they don't want to really say it.
Do you know what? Let's start with Calafiori, man. I'll stick with you because I am quite excited by this player. A lot of people talking about him. He's going to come in at left back. What I don't want to do is end up repeating myself because I've been speaking for Arsenal all day. So I want to bring you guys in more than myself, right? For me, I'm excited by this Igal. I hear great things about him. He's clearly going to play at left back, in my opinion. But I wanted to ask you, because there's a lot of question marks over the actual left-hand side. What does that mean for Julian Timber? Is it a good thing that we've got 2 of them fighting for that position? Or is Timber going to be seen not just as a left back and as maybe somewhere else? Because a lot of people are suggesting how versatile he is and that he might actually play left back for Arsenal. So where are you at with this signing, brother?
We don't have a starting back 4 anymore. We have a starting back 8. We have 8 players that can come in at any single time and make a difference in this team. At this moment in time, I feel like you can trust Timber to play in multiple positions. You can trust Tomiyasu to come in and play multiple positions. You can trust Calafiori to come in and play 2 positions. You can trust Calafiori to play multiple positions with left back and left center back. The only player you really can't trust to play multiple positions is probably Zinchenko. And even him, if you really wanted him to play in midfield, you could do that too. So I am not looking at it anymore as a back 4. I'm just saying we have a defensive unit of 8 people who could be rotated at any time. If you're a fantasy player, you're going to be extremely frustrated this year because Mikel Arteta might have some games where he goes with Gabriel and Saliba and some games where he doesn't. There might be situations where Ben White is taken out of the firing line. Calafiori is not even playing the first couple games of the season, and people are going to be like, when is he going to start a game? I really do believe we're going to see the Pep roulette at Arsenal for the first time in a long time.
I think this signing is really, really exciting, Alex, and everyone's talking about him. They are likening him to the Sergio Ramoses of this world and the Paolo Maldinis of this world. Now,
he has the looks for it.
And that's what I was going to say. He definitely looks like him. What I was going to say, they're likening him to. We do need to calm down, by the way, because that is an outrageous comparison when the guy's not kicked the ball for Arsenal yet. However, it definitely looks like him, and there's a lot of women that are going to be very happy now that if you're an Arsenal fan and into good-looking Italians with long hair, you're definitely going to enjoy this signing. However,
you're spending too much time on Twitter, mate. You see all the people taking people's looks.
Do you know what? I did a TikTok on it, and I had a load of comments saying I might support Arsenal now, and they're all like young, pretty girls, you know, like, oh, definitely Arsenal now. And I'm like, they're clearly talking about me, right? Oh no, they're talking about Calafiori.
We definitely have a big portion of the fan base that just looks at our players and say we have good-looking players.
That is facts, my friend. That is facts. But I've got to say to you, Alex, like, we should calm down. However, it does excite me when the comparisons are that huge. Because I've done this before myself, where I look on YouTube and I think, oh my God, he looks unreal. But that's a really foolish thing to do. But when you're actually getting media pundits say, yeah, I'm likening this player too, and they say names like that, that makes it even more exciting and to get him on the pitch and see what this kid's all about, don't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll probably be one of the people with a wig on and day one. I'll be exactly the same. But I think you kind of have to anyway. I think I've seen a lot of comparisons with Ben White. You know, I've seen a lot of people saying it's a real similar player. You know, he's able to carry, he's able to invert, he's able to go overlap. But then I don't even see that comparison. I just think we've got like a natural thing where we have to kind of say, oh, they're similar to that. It used to be we had Diaby, and everyone used to say, oh, it's the next Vieira. You know, it's just one of the things we naturally do because it's probably the easiest way we can describe them quickly. I would kind of look at him more of a Nesta type, but again, that's because he's Italian, long hair. But you know, I'm really excited about him. Genuinely am. I started kind of looking at him maybe about November time. It was when Motta started kind of getting on a bit of a roll. They've had some amazing players in that team. They really have. And he kind of came across my radar. And it was at that time I thought, oh, that's a player. And I joked. I said, oh, that would be a player that I'd love to kind of get as a prospect. Euros came. He did very well. And again, I said a joke. It was to James B. And I said, oh, mate, what's the chances of... So that was right in the first game of the Euros. I chatted to him. It was when I was just going to do my podcast with him. And I said, oh, what are the chances of we getting us, you know, your countrymen? Like joking. And then lo and behold, fruition, it's come. I didn't think we would be buying another one, but it shows massive ambition for us to be buying another defender of that quality. Just shows that Arteta is actually serious. When he says, I want every single department to get better, I think he really does mean that. And you get a lot of managers who kind of say, oh yeah, we'll improve something. They get one thing better. He's obviously identified the defense, injuries being a big part of that, the left-hand side being a big part of that, progression being a big part of that. And he kind of ticks all boxes, this guy. So, yeah, get me a wig, Dan. I'll be there on day one.
Yo, I just want to say to the Arsenal fans who are getting angry and upset, look at them lot down the road. They're in a much worse situation than us Tottenham, and they're looking at Arsenal strengthening a position of strength, an area where people don't even deem as a problem, where you have other people who have so many problem areas they don't even know what to fill the holes with. Just shows how far we've come.
It's a good way of looking at it. It's quite nice that Chelsea were interested, and we got it. And you know, because I knew a few Chelsea fans on Twitter as well. That I don't know them ones. I don't like them ones, if I'm honest. But they're the ones all giving it, going, "Oh, this will be fun. We'll do another Mudryk, blah blah blah." And then some of the Arsenal fans are losing their heads, saying, "I'm expecting him to go Chelsea now." No, not interested in what a shambles of a club that is at the moment.
Jorginho told them, "Don't do it. Get out."
Jorginho said, "Stick with us. Trust me." Good man, Agent Jorginho, man. That was funny because on the Euros, you saw them both on the bench together, they're smiling. I was like, love that. Listen, I really like what I hear. Gal, I wanted to come to you because I was going to bring this up a little bit later because of the other players you've been linked with, but I would say left back has been a massive, massive issue for the last few seasons because we
Yep.
started with Tierney. He obviously didn't like Tierney because he couldn't invert. He brought in Nuno Tavares, terrible. He's looked at playing Zinchenko there, terribly defensively terrible. Obviously, he's moved Kivior there. We'll much touch on him in a minute, but it looks like he might be leaving. Timber started there. Tomiyasu has played. How many left backs have we had, man? Surely we need some sustainability in that position, brother. And I hope that Calafiori can give us that, man.
Bro, I think they're gonna give Calafiori Kieran Tierney's shirt number. I think Kieran Tierney's days at Arsenal are finished. Is that harsh?
No, it's not harsh.
No,
It's not harsh on him. I like him a lot. I do really like him. I don't know if you do or not, but I do agree. I think he's got to go because he doesn't fit into the plans of Mikel Arteta.
And he's not even fit until January.
Oh, we're not going to sell him then, are we?
Well, nobody's going to sell it. Nobody's going to buy him. Also, Tomiyasu's injured until preseason. Nobody's going to buy him. Zinchenko, there's nobody interested in him. The only person we look like we could get shift out is Kivior. And the clubs that are interested in Kivior, they don't want to buy him for the price that we want. They want him on loan for a year with an obligation to buy. Everybody seems to want to test out the test drive the car before they even buy it nowadays. That's what the issue is. Nobody wants to buy the car straight off the lot.
Well, listen, Kieran Tierney is going to be hard to sell. Very, very hard to sell. Kivior is not because not La Liga, Serie A teams are very much interested in him if you believe what you read. Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus were all sniffing around him. Even Bologna were asking because they need a centre-back if we could throw him in, apparently. So I expect him to go. I actually don't mind him as cover at left centre-back, but I think that if you're going to upgrade him with the Calafiori signing, I can understand why he might want to go. The problem you've got is he's the one that I probably wouldn't want to sell, and I would be happy to sell Kieran Tierney, Zinchenko, and Tavares has obviously gone to Lazio on loan.
Nobody wants Zinchenko, man.
Yeah, and that's a worry for me. When people say to me, oh, Zinchenko's still got a massive role to play, why does no one want him then? Like, surely people should be lined up for this guy.
He's such a specific player, though. There's only certain managers that can kind of make him fit. If you look at kind of a Premier League teams especially, I can't see him fitting in many systems. I don't think this is going to sound really condescending. I don't think there's enough good managers that are able to adapt to his style. Because he has such pros, but at the same time, he has got massive drawbacks as well. And we've kind of moved past him. The only team that I can see, and they were very briefly linked with him, is Bayern. You've got companies now links. Davies is in his last year, but they've kind of publicly come out and said, you're staying. If you don't sign a new contract, you're staying until you run out. So that could have been our way forward to get Zinni out, but right now, I think we'll just have to keep him and use him for, certain games, cup games where we know we're going to dominate possession. He has his uses, but he's just not a big part of the cog, which shows how much we've progressed over the last 2 years.
He needs to be told you're not a leader in this dressing room because you can't be saying you're a leader in this dressing room, but then making those kind of defensive mistakes and breaking down and having emotional temper tantrums on the bench. Like, I like the guy, but him losing his cool versus Liverpool in that game, that's not what you need from somebody who's a leader in your dressing room. When after we lose to Man City in the FA Cup, somebody who's going to the opposition, laughing and joking, getting picked up and bullied on the pitch. I don't want to see people from my team that are supposed to have a representation of strength looking so weak around other people. It's just you can call it whatever you want, but there should be a level of like fear in your opponents or some level of like seriousness amongst your opponents. But if they see you like that, they can't take you serious.
That's a chink in the armor, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
that's a massive chink. If I was playing, I saw a player get like that, I'd be like, oh, I've got a good day today. That just sticks with you every time you play against that player. You go, oh, I can get at him. I could probably say something. I could have, something. There's. You look at players like Van Dijk, Saliba's got their mentality monsters. They're people that will just do it. It doesn't matter what's going on. They're not going to like break. Ben White's another. Ben White had what? Did he have tier 2 like tear in his hamstring?
He's been injured for
carried
a while.
on playing. That's what we need. We need players like that. Calafiori is another one. He had, so I don't know if you guys know about his injury too much. So he had the big injury when he was at Roma, I believe. So he tore his ACL, tore his MCL, and all the kind of specialists said it was basically the same as a motocross accident. They're like, this is the worst injury for a knee we've seen in like years and years and years. And then he's come back from that, which just shows the mentality this kid's got. I mean, he's the right type of player. And that's kind of aside of his physical attributes and, you know, his skills on the pitch. But we need more players like that. And obviously the Arteta and Edu kind of group, they're kind of identifying players like that. They're obviously looking at that. And I know we'll probably talk about Merino in a bit, but he's another one. He's another guy he's got that side to him.
We're going to get into the midfield, but before we do that, I just want to go back to Calafiori quickly. Is it me or everybody in this team needs to be scared of losing their place? That's why Arteta's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the defensive rotation, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because we've seen it with Pep. He's made rotation after rotation throughout the whole squad, and it seemed like come the end of the season, they're clicked into gear. Now, would you be surprised if Calafiori is starting some games off the bench, other games? Even Jesus, even Gabriel Magalhaes comes off some games and is not playing. That's Premier League games too, because last year we needed Jesus, we needed Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba to stay fit, and Ben White the whole season. We might not necessarily need that now. It might be a luxury that we'd never had before.
I don't want to see it every game. I'll say that because we need to have some momentum. We need to have some togetherness. However, I agree with you, Gal. We need a squad, not just for rotation like you're suggesting, but I want to go serious in all 4 competitions this season, man. I want to be going into every single trophy believing we can win the whole thing. Not, oh, yeah, we've got a good first team for this one, but, oh, this Carabao Cup's in the way. Play the kids, oh, we're out again. Right, back to the league. I don't want to do that. That's not what I want this year. I want to be going for all of them because winning breeds confidence. And you can get to February, March and get that trophy of the League Cup. And then all of a sudden your team's M1 sank. And then you go again. And that's why for the last 2 decades, Chelsea and City have won it the most because they've had the biggest squad.
Because they have the best academies also.
Exactly. So they can, that's what we've got to aim to be, man, for me, 100%. I wanted to talk just quickly. I'll ask you this, Igal. Let's say our back 4 is Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Calafiori, right? Who inverts? Ben White or Calafiori?
Ben White.
Okay.
Ben White inverts, and Calafiori is the one that goes forward. And finally, we have some balance on the left side. Martinelli has somebody to overlap. Guys, Martinelli has not had somebody to overlap since Xhaka left the club.
Facts.
When Xhaka left the club, that was the last person who overlapped with him. I did not see one time where KVR overlapped. Maybe Tomiyasu here and there, and Zinchenko would get in those situations, but he would never cross the ball. He would just pass it around. Like, you'd never see Zinchenko get an assist. But overall, that is the main key, because the Bukayo Saka can do it with Odegaard. Bukayo Saka, that right-hand side is one of the best right-hand sides in the Premier League, no debate. But the left side,
football.
Yeah, you could even say football. But the left side has been an issue. The left side has had the lack of balance. And we're going to probably talk about the midfield, but that left back now being able to get forward will just give us another dimension in the attack and the defense.
I'd argue it depends on personnel. Sorry, Dan.
No, go on, bro. You go for it. Go on.
I was just going to say, I'd argue it depends on our personnel. I think, like we were mentioning earlier about Pep Roulette, right? I would say right now that back 4 is the back 4 that most people are kind of saying, yeah, it's gonna be Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and then Calafiori. But you start to look and you go, right, if we play Timber, we can actually give Ben White a rest. Timber's going to be someone who's kind of able to do both. He's able to underlap, overlap. He's able to push into midfield. I think we'll see that quite a bit this season. I think Timber's actually going to play almost in a double pivot. So we have a box midfield. Calafiori, his progressive carries, I think he's 88th percentile in the top 5 leagues. Like, this is a guy who's incredible at carrying the ball. He's incredible with progressive passes as well. So I think we've got the option now where certain games, if it's not working on an underlap on one side, we'll go on an overlap. We've got so many different options and faces. It's mad. I think I mentioned before with you, Dan, like Bayern Munich, that game drove me mad. We were crying out for a player like Calafiori. And if he's playing as a left back, we've now got an option where we can take Gabriel out, put Calafiori into the middle for his passing range, and then put a left back on and play Timber out on left. You know, we've got so many different options. So I don't think it's going to be a case where we have kind of one system where we play to. I think we'll play multiple systems, and depending on our midfield as well, we're probably going to have some more box crashing again, like Xhaka, like you said. So Martinelli is going to be a different player.
57 lineups, like Arteta said, whatever it was.
57, yeah. And then you go down the M25-1, and then you come around the 8 to get to the A12. Remember that interview? I was like, what is he on about? Listen,
I love Arteta's interviews. It's not like Una Emery where I would get confused more.
Yeah, well, that's true. There's 600 people in here, people. Make sure that you do me a favor and hit the like button, because we don't have enough, man. We haven't even hit 200 yet. So let's make sure that we do that. Hit the like button, hit subscribe as well, and make sure you come follow these two gents as well, man. Igal Talks Football, you know, I'm sure you will subscribed anyway. So please make sure you do that. Please make sure you go over to Forward on Football as well. Alex has literally just started up, so we need to get him to 1K, people. So let's go over there right now and go to subscribe to his stuff. The production levels off the charts, man, as far as I'm concerned. So big up to Alex. Make sure that you get over there, because he's going to be big. Let's move into midfield, man. Let's start with Alex actually this time, because Mikel Merino looks like he is the favourite to come to Arsenal. Now, there could be a twist that he could go elsewhere. Atletico Madrid are interested. Apparently Chelsea and Villa also interested over in England. And, of course, Barcelona. But I think this is probably the area of priority for me. This might not be a player that you go, wow, exciting, we're ready to go and win the title now. But at the same time, I do think it's a position that is absolutely needed. Now, I think last time you and I spoke, we wanted Yusuf Fofana together, and he's still not actually gone yet, I don't think. But it looks like Merino, it looks like Merino is the guy that we're probably going to be looking to go for. Would that be a good signing for you? And where do you see this working if he was to come to Arsenal, bro?
For the money, great signing. Let's be honest. I think 25 mil has been touted, you know, final year of his contract. A guy he's had a hard career. He came through at Newcastle, then left. Wasn't kind of a big name, but over the years has progressively got better and better and better. I mean, I quite like an underdog story anyway, you know, guys who late in their career, like an Ian Wright, who just comes through. Oh, cheers, Ryan. Appreciate that, mate. But I think Merino is a product of Arteta not getting it right last season. I think they decided Kai Havertz, let's be honest, was going to be that left 8. He was going to be that box crasher, and it didn't quite work. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. I think Merino he's more specialist. He's a guy who plays that left 8 role. He's really aggressive. He leads the press. Like, he's a guy that people love. People are going to absolutely love the fact that he just gets involved every single phase of play. He doesn't shirk from any challenges. This guy's a monster. You know, he's about 6'2", top. He is not the top 1%. He is the top player in the whole of Europe for aerial. He is incredible. And we know how good our corners were last year. So get this guy in a corner and he's going to just cause mayhem. So I'm looking forward to it. He's not the perfect player, but for the 25 mil, he's a player that can come in and change that left 8 role. And it's going to make a big difference. I think, you know, for me, we talked about Fofana. I think we do need another midfielder anyway through the gate. And if it's not him, like Frankie de Jong would be the dream if he could stay fit as well. But we'll wait and see. But yeah, right now, 25 mil, bring him in, get it done.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Igal, I'll come to you because again, we're looking at the left-hand side. Granit Xhaka hasn't been replaced, whether you loved him or hated him. We should have kept him last year, in my opinion, and with an added Declan Rice. I was all for replacing Granit Xhaka, but I wasn't up for selling him and not replacing Granit Xhaka. And that's kind of what we did. So for me, is this guy going to come in and be that guy, do you think?
I'm just happy we're not signing another 22-year-old midfielder to try to plug a hole and then ends up turning into a Lokonga. We're getting somebody who's somewhat more proven and left-footed, not the fastest midfielder, has a decent passing range. Kind of sounds like Granit Xhaka. It's just, the thing is, I rate Granit Xhaka on the same level that some people rate Xabi Alonso, and that they say that's crazy. But I put Granit Xhaka on that level of player. Xabi Alonso obviously is a much higher caliber and much more world-round respect for him. But Granit Xhaka is the closest thing that we've seen to that. I don't know if Mikel Merino can play to that level. I haven't seen enough of it. But for him being left-footed, being a midfielder that can dictate play and can also offer us an opportunity where he can play as a 6 and an 8. It just depends on what the plan is with Declan Rice. Is Declan Rice going to be used more as a 6? Because if he is, that would allow you to play Mikel Merino there. And if Mikel Merino is going to be used as a 6, does that make as much sense? I don't know. But yeah, everyone don't get caught up on my Xabi Alonso comparison. The Bundesliga themselves made that comparison when they both played in the Bundesliga.
Don't worry about it.
Disclaimer.
Don't worry about that. Yeah, someone will always come for something to say. Listen, everyone's fit, Igal, and Marino's a part of it. Does he start in the first 11, or do you still have Partey, Rice, and Odegaard?
We shift Partey eventually. You need to get away from Partey. You need to get away from Jorginho. You need to find the most balance. And also, even if we have Partey, I love the guy, but he's going to get injured at some point throughout the season. I like Jorginho, but he cannot sustain playing week in, week out. At this age, you need to manage him. And maybe what we can do is sign Mikel Merino, figure out what his best position is, either the 6 or the 8, and then find the best balance. Because if I'm not mistaken, he did work with Odegaard in the past. Odegaard, him, and Zubimendi were in a midfield, and he played on the left. So maybe we go back to a double pivot rather than 2 8s, and you'll have a more balanced double pivot with somebody who is more of a driver in Declan Rice and somebody who's more of a dictator in Mikel Merino.
That's a great shout. That's one that I didn't even think of, to be fair. And Alex, I want to come with you with this as well, because there's a lot of talk, and we'll come on to it in a minute, about Smith-Rowe potentially leaving. And that leaves Odegaard very vulnerable, in my opinion, because Fabio Vieira would be the only one if Smith-Rowe was to go. Ethan Nwaneri, we know potentially he's going to get promoted and can play in that position, and they believe he's going to get some game time next season. Do we go for a bit of a different system? And what I mean by that is, if Odegaard was to get injured, I spoke to Tom last night about this. I'm getting so confused with how many streams I've done now. But yeah, it was last night with Tom talking about Odegaard. If he was to get injured, there's a couple of things that we could do. There's potentially we could play Nwaneri in that position, or Fabio Vieira in that position. Or actually we could keep a double pivot and then not have an attacking 8 or 10 or whatever you want to call it, and play more of a old school 4-4-2 in and out of possession. And I wonder if we might see something similar like that in a number of ways. I know Igal spoke earlier about systems. I think yourself did as well. 57 formations, whatever it was he'd said. Are we going to see a little bit more of that this season, do you think, bro?
Yeah, I think we'll have to. I think the way Arteta views games, he views it obviously in phases. And what he'll probably do is every single match where we're either like just scraping over the line or we're losing, unfortunately, he's obviously picking out. I said the Bayern game earlier. The Bayern game showed exactly how to beat Arsenal, unfortunately. But in a way, maybe it's going to be a good thing for us, because maybe that's the way we kind of go. They had Lima, didn't they? And they basically said, you're going to go man-to-man marking throughout the game. That's all you're going to do. And he had a fantastic game, to be fair to him. They had Sane, who was that kind of big game moments player. They pinpointed and targeted our left-hand side, and that's all they did. And it was a massive kind of wake-up call, I think, for the club. I think if Odegaard goes, I dread to think, to be honest. I don't mind Vieira. I think he gets a lot of stick. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's the answer. But he's not Odegaard class, let's be honest. He's got a good kind of final ball. Can he press like Odegaard? No. Can he lead like Odegaard? No. Can he dictate play like Odegaard? No. Kind of gets bullied a bit. So I don't know. For me, I think it'd have to be either Ethan coming inside. Maybe Havertz plays as a 10. The only other option is kind of playing Saka as a 10. I think, and that's maybe why they're looking at Nico Williams originally, because we've discussed in the past, Nico can play as a left winger, he can play as a right winger. So maybe the idea is Saka comes inside and then he goes out to the right. We've kind of talked a lot before about Saka. He has that capability as playing as 10. He's excellent carrying the ball. He's good decision making. He could easily do that. Whether Arteta does that or not, I think Odegaard's probably number one for me, the worst player we can lose now. It used to be Saliba, but with Calafiori coming in, it's not as bad. You know, don't get me wrong. I think he's probably, don't know if you guys agree, number one defender right now in the world, centre back. So
I believe
losing him would be horrible, but we've got cover. Odegaard, there's no go-to, is there? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Honestly, he is the one that worries me if we was to get rid of Smith-Rowe. I don't know what you think.
I have an answer though.
Go on, Igal. Go on, bro. I was going to ask you that question anyway, so you go for it.
Eze. He can play on the wing and as a 10. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at Havertz more as a striker for the foreseeable future, I think. So if we get in Eze, he's somebody who can cover Saka, can cover the wing on the left, and he can also cover the 10. So this is somebody who can give us so much more versatility. And he's naturally comfortable in the 10 position also, because if I'm not mistaken, at Crystal Palace, weren't they playing with 2 10s in the first place instead of wingers? They were just playing with 2 floating 10s. So if Odegaard is taken out of the firing line, you now have Saka and Eze coming at you from the right wing. That's scary.
I would agree with that 100%. I think last time we were on or chatting, Alex, we were talking about Eze. And I think someone suggested we might get Eze and Williams, which is the player I want to talk about next. I don't know if we're going to get both of those, but, we'll see. We can always dream, I suppose. But Eze would be an absolutely delightful signing for me. 8 million pound release clause or 60 million with 8 add-ons or something crazy like that.
It's his dream to play for us again.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, listen,
he said it on numerous occasions. His dream is to play for Arsenal again. And I think he would cost a little bit more than Pedro Neto, but no injury issues. And he's 26. He's not young, but like, if you guys don't know, but what that brings is Premier League experience. Somebody who comes in right away and understands his role. And I think he's going to be a lot more humble than a Nico Williams coming into this team. Nico Williams is going to probably want this first team starting spot. He's going to want 200 plus K because he's making ridiculous money over in Bilbao, where Eze is making what is it? 120, 130? How much is he making? I don't know. But it's not going to be that much compared to what these other guys are going to be asking for.
I'd rather have Eze instead of Pedro Neto. I do love Pedro Neto. I've always loved him. But Eze can play more positions and he's less injury prone. He's probably not going to be much different in terms of money. I wouldn't have thought. I think he'd probably be a bit more. Pedro Neto, I think they want 50. I think something like that they're suggesting. And we are linked and like both players from what we read. But Nico Williams, Igal, I don't know what your thoughts are, bruv. But
Nico Williams is a starter. Nico Williams is a starter. Nico Williams not somebody who's going to come into the team with no guarantees. And let's be honest, if we sign Nico Williams at this moment in time, I would be questioning who would be moving. I'm not saying it in the sense of I want somebody sold, but with Nico Williams being signed, he's going to be promised guarantees. He's going to be guaranteed. There's going to be guarantees involved. Off the back of the Euros, he's just had Barcelona are after him. They're guaranteeing him a starting spot. PSG are after him. They're guaranteeing him a starting spot. All these clubs that are after him, he can potentially win things quickly with them also. And he's not going to have as much of a competitive issue. And let's be honest, if he has a choice to play with the Emilia Mal for the next 10 years and stay in Spain, that's probably what he's going to want to do. So I don't have as much hope in this happening. And the fact that Arsenal met with him and had to pitch him the idea and have like a Declan Rice pitch type meeting as reported, it kind of gives me the feeling that we know that we're going to have to work extremely hard to get this guy to agree to signing a deal. Where Eze, he's begging us to sign him. Pedro Neto, their Wolves are coming to us asking us if we want a player. So it's a little bit of a different situation. And the other guys that were linked to start the window, the Rashfords, the Xavi Simons, that's not happening at this point.
I agree.
Unless we pull a Trossard where we just go back last minute and do something crazy.
Which is most likely for you then, Eze?
I think Eze is the most useful piece to the puzzle because you want somebody who can benefit you in multiple positions. Arteta loves versatility, and Eze could cover two issues. Saka gets injured, we have Eze. We have Jesus. Odegaard gets injured, we have Eze. We have other players who down the pecking order also that we could use. But now with just a Pedro Neto, is Pedro Neto going to play in the 10? Is Pedro Neto going to play in the 10? No. Is Nico Williams going to play in the 10? No. I think the versatility that Pedro Neto allows us, plus the Premier League experience, plus he counts as a homegrown player towards our academy quota also. It's a no-brainer for me.
Alex, so what do you make of this Williams thing, and would you take any of the other options, bruv? I mean, how likely do you see it happening? I've been quite open to suggest that I believe the Barcelona situation is real, and I think they're just going to sell and try and buy him. But do you think that Arteta can go all out for him like he's suggesting? I mean, the reports suggest after Calafiori's done, which we think it is now, they're going to go all out for Merino and Williams. I mean, that would be exciting, but is it going to happen?
I don't know. He's got a release clause, and it's good money. You know, that would be an amazing piece of business if you do that. There's a reason the club haven't, though, because they've obviously talked to him, because there were reports before the Euros, before Barca were even kind of part of the conversation, that Arsenal were kind of trying to jump the gun, get in there quick. He had that incredible Euros, let's be honest, it was amazing. And then Barca have got involved, and we've stayed off. If we thought we were going to get him, we would have done the release clause, and then we'd have talks. As simple as that. You know, there's no other dealings to be done. The club have obviously been told he wants to go to Barca, and they don't. The worst thing for the club, kind of PR wise, would be to put the 45 million, put that in, and then have the player go, no, sorry, I don't want to join. It would be, with our fan base, it'd be meltdown. It would be horrendous. You know, we've got people that kind of work out flights for Robbie Lyle over to China, let alone, you know, players saying no to us. So it would just be awful. If Barca can't raise the funds, and that's the big problem with this, you know, they've bought players in the past and couldn't register them. If they can't do it, I think then we'll pounce, and it'll be a late one. I think it'll be kind of like an Ozil-ish kind of thing where, you know, last week of the window, last day of the window, we get in. Because if he can't go to Barca, he will come to us. The wages people are talking about isn't a problem. It's not a problem. When you're looking at the fee plus the wages, it's less money than buying kind of like a Gyokeres for the amount that they want. So if you kind of put it as a total, it's not a big problem. So the biggest problem is that wait. You know, we're going to have to wait. I think if we could get him, he is a player that solves a lot of problems. He solves right wing cover. He's a left-hand side player that suddenly changes our dynamic. He's also a player with X factor, and we don't really have him. Like, let's be honest. I love our club, but how many players do we have that get us out of that horrible position like a Haaland does, or a Salah does, or a De Bruyne does? We saw even Sane do it against us, you know, just take it on, take the ball, just do it himself. We don't really have players like that. So I think Nico Williams goes a long way to solving a lot of the problems. We just got to be patient with that one, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, I think we'll have to be patient, and I don't see it happening because I believe Barcelona will get their guy. And if you are Nico Williams after just winning the Euros with half your teammates that are playing there, and with them wanting Dani Olmo as well, you're probably going to be tempted to walk alongside that. Now, what is worrying is if that is the case, Merino is obviously another player that they're looking at as well, and he is joining that crew. I suppose the only difference there is that I believe Mikel Arteta has made it quite clear that he wants this guy, and he is of a different age. He knows he's going to come into that team. Maybe he'd be more tempted, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to get any player nowadays. All I will say is this, right? This does prove how far we've come. And over the years, I've had my doubts about regimes and projects and processes, and I've taken the mick out of names of it, right? But when you look at any player like Nico Williams now, Arsenal were actually involved. And it wasn't long ago, was it, guys? We sat there and were like, oh, I wish we could get him, but we're not going to. We're not in that position yet. You know, even when Mbappe said he was leaving PSG, Arsenal were actually mentioned. Now, he was never coming, but at least we were in the mix to be actually one of those teams that he actually might have looked at and gone, do you know what? Let's actually see what's going on over there. I don't really fancy it, but what is it about them? Oh, okay, that sounds good. Look, Real Madrid, I'm clearly going to go to, but wow, fair play. And I think that is a big compliment to what we have done now, because I don't think it was long ago that we were looking at stuff like that and laughing, going, yeah, we wish, rolling our eyes. Now, Nico Williams is available and Arsenal's pretty much the favourites to get him if Barcelona can't afford him. And that Miguel, I imagine, is something that you have probably said for a couple of years of what you could see. So maybe you'll sit there a bit smug now, but you're right in terms of what you're saying now, that we are in the playing field of those kind of names, Miguel.
I think, do you always want to go for the best player or do you want to go for the best fit? Because I think Nico Williams is probably the best player out of the players that we're speaking about. Pedro Neto, Eze, and what do you call it? Nico Williams. But is he the best fit? How many left wingers do we have?
He can play right wing as well, though.
I would argue that with Eze.
We arguably have, I think we're sorted in that area and we have a lot of squad depth in that area. If we're going to sign somebody, I'd rather sign somebody that fixes our problem areas. Mohamed Kudus would have been amazing for us.
Yeah, that would have been the one for me. I really wanted him, man.
Like, someone seen that, mentioned that in the chat right now. That would have been amazing for us. But that would have meant that we would have signed him over Havertz. And we would have still been in the situation where we need a forward that can play center forward. I don't think Victor Gyokeres or Victor Osimhen are going to happen, even though we're going to get linked to them for the rest of the year. Maybe we wait another year to see if we can get Isaac finally. But for now, I'd rather go for Eze and have somebody who solves my issue in A, B, and C than get somebody who's a little bit more deadly. But now I have a surplus in one area, but I still have a deficit in others.
Eze, I do get what you mean. Eze for me fits the bill. I agree with you.
It's not Mbappe, for example. Nico Williams not Mbappe.
No, it's not Mbappe. No, of course. Nico Williams excites people the most. And like Tom said last night, he'd be probably one of the signings of the summer that everyone's going to be talking about if it happens. So I understand that. The Euros has helped that, by the way. If it weren't Euros on, I don't think that it would have been as exciting because people wouldn't have seen as much of him. That does help. People saw him in action. People saw what it was about. He lifted up the Euros along with most of the Spanish team, to be fair. So I think that there is an opportunity for that. Let's move on lastly to the striker situation, because Victor Gyokeres, the rumor won't go away, Alex. I know when we last spoke, you were more for Osimhen, and I know that I was probably more for Gyokeres. I've got to be brutally honest. I don't actually think we will get a striker. I said that earlier. But if we do, then it looks like it might be this guy. What's your thoughts, bruv?
Yeah. I think I said last time, Gyokeres is stylistically the player that I would prefer. Like an Isak, they're that kind of, they've got a way about dribbling about them. They've got a little bit of Henry. They can kind of take it out to the left-hand side. That they've got that side of their game. The reason I said Osimhen was because the mid-block's been the big thing for us. A box presence has been a bit of a problem for us. Someone that's able to kind of press as well, because Odegaard has got so much pressure on him to lead the press, whereas I think Osimhen can lead the press. I know Havertz is very good at pressing. Jesus is good at pressing, but they don't lead it. So that was kind of, I was looking at it more from like an Arteta point of view of what do I think he'll want. Right now, I kind of agree with you. It's sad. I don't think we will get someone in. If we were going to get someone, I think it would be Gyokeres, mainly because he is gettable. He's in the Portuguese league. He's played in England before, albeit, the championship. But that in itself might be a good thing. There's not many more kind of physical leagues than that league. And he's a player that's got, 29 goals and then I think 24 non-pen goals this season. So wow. He then plus another at least 10 kind of assists. So Gyokeres this season has been on fire. I think I want to say as well, yesterday he got a hat-trick. He just came back from injury. Yeah. So this is a guy who's obviously, it's not like a one season where gets the preseason and it cuts off. He's picked up straight away. So maybe he is someone we can look at. I don't know. I think the club are just waiting for dominoes to fall. I think maybe it'll be a case of they'll go for a Nico. If they can't, then Gyokeres is the next one. They'll go, okay, that we can get this done. I think Osimhen does look like he's going to PSG. I said at the time when Mbappe was looking at leaving, I said, well, Osimhen's the perfect player. Napoli don't sell for cheap. He wants to leave, and he wants massive wages.
They already have Muani though.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that politics thing, if you know what I mean. Like, like Real Madrid, they always need a big name. I almost feel like you're going to have the fans over there, let's be honest, they go mad. You're going to have flares on the pitch and stuff.
They can get Rashford.
A huge...
Replace Mbappe with Rashford.
Yeah, true. I mean, again, but stylistically, maybe that'd be better for them. But I think, dominoes are going to have to fall. And like you said earlier, Gal, we need players that fit the mold and solve the problems. We've got to kind of get out of this mindset of like, we need this guy. Because Mbappe would be amazing, but yeah.
Who do you think comes into this Arsenal team and is like a world beater that would just solve every issue in that striker position?
Alexander Isak.
So if none of the players we're looking at are on that level, then why are we pushing ourselves in a situation where we're trying to do that when we can wait one more season and have him and try to get him over the line?
I would say, go for it. Sorry,
because that's what all the top clubs do. When they want somebody, they sometimes have to wait. Real Madrid had to wait for Mbappe. I've seen Manchester United try to wait for certain players and end up getting them eventually, like Berbatov. You don't always have to just go and get somebody else. Sometimes you can just wait idly by, solve your other issues, and that player might be there for you in a year's time.
So I mean, we're going to come to outgoings now, but if Eddie is one of those guys, we just have Havertz and Jesus and potentially Trossard, and you just keep them for a season. And then you go for
and even Martinelli.
But what I'm asking is, that was what you would do. That's what you would do, Igal. Yeah, you just wait,
bro. I don't think we're gonna sign a striker.
No, but what would you do though? What would you do though? I'm asking.
If you ask me right now, Arsenal go and sign a striker and spend money on Victor Osimhen or Victor Gyokeres, and that is the solution. I don't think so. I think what it does is it just adds another forward, but does that forward actually change our team too much? The way that I would see Arsenal go sign a forward is if Jesus, Eddie Nketiah, and Nelson were all sold. In that situation, we would have room to bring in two forwards. And that's the situation where I could see the money from Jesus, the money from Nelson, the money from Eddie Nketiah getting us two forwards, one being a winger /10 and another one being a striker. Unless we get rid of Jesus, I don't see us going out and dropping the money on another forward.
How about this then? Eddie goes.
Jesus' wages is ridiculous too. Don't forget, he's on 200K.
Yeah. No, it is 100%. It is. Saudi were interested, but I don't think we're going to sell him. How about this then? We let Eddie go. We bring in Ivan Toney or Victor Gyokeres or one of them guys that isn't Isak. And then next season we sell Jesus and we bring in Isak, and we then got Isak and Toney, or Isak and Gyokeres.
1 second. It don't make sense. Either you're signing one first team striker with the hopes of him being that main man, but you're not going to go and then double down and get a second striker. We don't play a front two.
Why not? Why don't you want two that are wicked, that have got two quality strikers? We used to have them in Henry, Bergkamp, Kanu, and Wiltord. No,
but the difference is you can't have two strikers that want to be the number one. You need to have one that's you need to have one that's coming in that's like the age of 22, 23 that's pushing for that in the future, and one that's there now. If you sign two of them with that have the ambition to be the main man, then we're not Real Madrid. I don't think they're going to agree to that. As much as you guys are questioning my ambition, I'm questioning the player that wants to join a club and say to themselves, I'm going to come here knowing that I'm not going to be a main man, but everywhere else I go, I'm going to be the main man. It wouldn't make sense to them. If Victor Gyokeres joins, best believe that's going to be our striker, and our number 2 is going to be Havertz.
Okay, it's interesting. I know we don't play a 4-4-2 anymore. So gone are the days of York, Cole, Sheringham, and who was the other one? Solskjaer. And gone are the days of Henry, Bergkamp, Wiltord, and Kanu. But I feel personally, if Ivan Toney, let's say, was to come in and we went and got Alexander Isak next year, I don't think Tony's saying, "I will get me out." I'm saying I think he'd go for a title with us. But that's all different, man. It's all different of opinions.
I don't think we're going to get Tony because they met with Tony. And
no, I don't think we will either. I'm just giving an example. I don't think he will come either.
I like Tony, but the people at the club don't like his personality. That's apparently what's coming out.
Stylistically, though, the big problem is Arteta doesn't like all the strikers we've mentioned, right? None of them are an Arteta striker, are they? Like, look at the strikers that he's brought in. Look at the strikers that he's worked with. He played Aubameyang out on the left for a reason. He would play Lacazette in the end, didn't he? He played Lacazette up the middle as the player to kind of facilitate the rest of the attack. So if we're getting in a Gyokeres, I think that's it. I think he just looks at it and goes, that I can only have one player in that mold. I don't think we can then get an Isak next year, because then he's got 2 players that can only play as a number 9 and only in that certain way. And I think for him, that's why he likes Havertz. That's why he likes Jesus, because he knows he can get different kind of identities out of them as such. He can play Havertz in that 8, as much as we hate it. He could play him as a 10. He played at Leverkusen on the right a little bit, didn't he, before he kind of came to England. Jesus can play left, he can play right, he can play centre. I think if we get a big name 9, we'll only get one. And it's not because any of us want any different, because Arteta is that way. And I think, yeah, we're just going to have to wait. I think
we sign any big name players.
Yeah, I think. Do you guys, like, I don't know what you guys think. Can he manage a player like an Osimhen?
I don't think Osimhen is a big name player. If you're talking big name player, I'm probably talking like Vinicius.
I just mean big attitude.
Vinny Jr., somebody like that. If he came to Arsenal, that would be like a big. Like, the player has to have a bigger history than Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen's won one league title in
yeah, I know. I just mean because, like, do you remember, like, he came out on social media as like, I'm leaving the club.
Big
he didn't
ego,
care about all the
he's
as much as you guys don't like it. I think Arteta's shown that he is bigger than all the players that are at the club. So if somebody comes in thinking they're bigger than Arteta, they're gonna get shown the door. So anybody who joins, they would need to basically be, I don't know what the best way to say it is, but they would need to understand who's calling the shots. It's like the mafia. You come in, you know who the boss is. You're not going to mess around. But I just want to say one thing before we leave the striker topic. I get that everyone wants a forward and we need a striker. Everyone's saying we need a striker. And you guys don't trust Jesus. You don't trust Eddie. You don't trust Eddie Nketiah, of course. You don't trust Havertz. You don't trust Leandro Trossard. But we still scored a ridiculous amount of goals last season. Was striker the only issue, or could you say that if we fix the left side, it will subsequently mean we will get more goal production?
I think that's a great point. I actually do think that's a really good point, because 91 goals scored, it wasn't the issue. Scoring goals wasn't the issue. Where my kind of defense come in for why we might need a striker is you can think of a handful of games where we didn't get that crucial goal when we needed it. There was not that killer there, and the killer was Havertz missed. The killer was Jesus missed. Games against West Ham at home that we lost. Games against Liverpool at the Emirates where we lost in the cup. Games against Bayern Munich where we're flinging Eddie on. Games against Porto we're flinging Eddie on. We need that killer, and I think if we did have a Gyokeres, Tony, Osimhen, whoever the hell you want to say, I think that would get us across the line. However, what I'll say, Gal, is the left-hand side is very interesting for me. And I think Calafiori will help with that. I think Martinelli will have a better season because of that. And if Mikel Merino or a type that comes in like the Granit Xhaka, number 8 at left 8 comes in, then yeah, I agree with you. It will be a very different Arsenal. The right-hand side of Arsenal, we all know it. The left-hand side, it's been no sustainability. It's been shuffled. I've been seeing Havertz play 8, which he can't do. We can't see that again, man. But for me, striker, interesting position, to be honest. Listen, to close, I want to ask a couple of outgoings, just very quick fire questions to both of you. Reece Nelson linked with a move to Leicester today, Alex. Loan with an obligation. What are you thinking about that one, bruv?
I think that's what we're going to get, isn't it? It's going to be a loan with an obligation. No one can pay outright. As long as we kind of get good money, I think 15 to 20 for Reece is good for us, considering our history selling players. I think he's worth more. He is worth more. If he was a player playing a lot to a club like, I wanted him to go to Crystal Palace. You said about the floating tens. I think him in a, almost like a floating 10 role, he'd be great for them. He'd be such a good player. But we need money in, and he's not playing at all. You know, look at his minutes. So yeah, 15 to 20, I'll take it. And that's for next year's coffers. If we're looking at like an Isak, then that's that 15 to 20 ready for him for next year. So
I think that's a good shout. Personally, I like Reece Nelson, but it's time for him to move on. Egal, I want to get your thoughts on that, and also on Emil Smith-Rowe. Would you sell him, and if so, how much for, bruv?
I'm selling all these Haaland guys. Eddie Nketiah.
By Saka.
Reece Nelson. No. Just those three. Just the three that are on sale. Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, and Emil Smith-Rowe. Emil Smith-Rowe's money is going to probably get us Mikel Merino. Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah's money can get us Eze. So, and even if it's a loan with an obligation to buy or a loan with an option to buy, I expect Fulham to trigger the purchase of Emil Smith-Rowe. I expect whoever signs Eddie Nketiah to be pleased with him, because as much as you guys don't rate Eddie Nketiah, I think if he's in a team where he's just asked to do a simple job, which is just get at the end of chances, he can be a good poacher. And Reece Nelson, I think he has not been able to show his full capabilities in a team like a Leicester or a team like who else has he been linked to? Crystal Palace, West Ham. If he goes to these teams and he's given an opportunity, I think he could do quite well. And the price that the obligation to buy that we agreed for, like 20 to 15 million, might actually be a steal, depending on how well he performs. And hopefully that will mean the start of Arsenal being able to sell our players a lot easier, because people are going to look at our club and say, hey, they got that player from that club, or they got this player from that club. And eventually it will be more easier for Arsenal to sell their players once we get an understanding that our players can have some value. Because Manchester United, that's what's happened to them. Even though they've had shit performances and shit players, they sell Pereira to Fulham and he becomes one of their best players. They sell Lukaku to Inter and he wins them the friggin' league and gets them like the best player in their club's recent history for a couple of years. So you just want to build that relationship with other clubs. We've done that with Marseille. That's why they want Eddie Nketiah. We've given them all these players, Marseille, in the past, that they're happy to come in for Eddie Nketiah right now.
That's a very interesting point. Lastly, Alex, the other players that I believe will probably be available, whether they'll go or not, I don't know. One of them is Aaron Ramsdale. The other one is Kieran Tierney. We've mentioned has got injury problems. I don't know how that one works. Jacob Kiwior is the other one. And I have to throw him in the mix. Fabio Vieira. I don't see the future of this kid at the moment. I, however, don't see anybody coming in for him. So what are you saying, bro?
Vieira is it's a car crash, I think, almost. I mean, it's getting to that point. Another year of this, and it is a car crash of a transfer. I mean, he's got talent, but who's going to come in for him right now? I think I said on our last chat about ESR versus him. ESR's got the British quota. He's had this. Do you remember when Jamie Carragher came out and he said, "Oh, he's the best carrier of the ball in the Premier League, or the best I've ever seen," or something along those lines? So at least these like sound bites. What sound bites have we got for Fabio Vieira? Like, genuinely, I don't know what we have. Yeah, exactly.
Gym,
so, yeah, he's been to the gym. Great, awesome. So I don't. There's not much of a market for him. So we're gonna have to hold on to him for now, and we're gonna have to hope that Arteta works out a way of kind of feeding him into the team. It might be a bit harsh because he did get injured midway through the season, but I don't know about Vieira. Ramsdale, I think, unless We'll use that
Yeah,
as
bro.
we'll use that as kind of our transfer. Ramsdale. We don't need to sell him. I think this is a time that the club can hold fast and kind of change that history of ours. You were saying a minute ago, you look at United selling, at least they've got kind of money for players. Chelsea have always got money for players. City have. We never do. So I think maybe this is our chance to kind of rectify that. And we kind of sit and we just say, unless you put up the big money, you're not having him. We pay good money
What
for
about
him. We
this?
should get more.
A loan with an obligation, an option or obligation to buy for a reasonable price, like 40
Yeah,
million.
but it depends who's coming in, man. Like I don't
If
really
it's
don't wanna-
Southampton, if it's Newcastle, and they offer you 40 million option to buy for Ramsdale, I'm taking it.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fair.
40 mil.
I just think that's fair. Like you're right, absolutely. It has to be. What I don't want to do is I don't want to go. Yeah, he ain't really played, so you can have him for 15 million. I'd rather just keep him.
No.
Just keep him.
Also, it's going to cost us 15 million to get that Garcia guy who's going to be his replacement.
Oh yeah.
The only way I would let that happen is if we get what's the Porto keeper called? Is it Diego?
Oh, Diogo Costa, man. That's the one I want.
I mean,
Are you trying to replace Raya?
No.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do, but not a lot of people would. Yeah.
I mean,
Raya,
at least
don't get it
challenge
twisted.
him.
Raya is going to be the keeper that wins us the league.
Okay, Gal, you've said a lot of stuff before, though. That has not come true.
I mean,
I've said one thing that's come true. That our defense is now turning into a title-winning defense, potentially. You can see it.
I don't think David Raya is a bad goalkeeper. I'll put it out there. I've never said this. People have been really, oh my God, Dan hates Raya. No, I don't hate Raya. I quite liked Ramsdale. I quite like David Raya, but I think both of them are replaceable and upgradable. And I think Diogo Costa, Michael Maignan, Jan Oblak are all better goalkeepers than David Raya. Hell, I think Emi Martinez is a better goalkeeper than David Raya, and we had him. So why we had 9 goalkeepers after Emi Martinez and we still haven't got one better?
I'd argue styles.
I would argue you wouldn't be saying that. I'd argue you wouldn't be saying that if Son slaughtered away his goal.
Oh, come on. No, Agal, listen. If we win the league, 100% I'll be happy. But you can still upgrade when you win the league, right? You can still upgrade and say, right, how do we get to
I'm just saying, impressions of a player changes once they've lifted some silverware at your club.
That's fair. That's fair. But I will still...
Jens Lehmann, how many league titles did he win with Arsenal? He's considered one of our best keepers.
Who?
Jens Lehmann.
Oh, Lehmann, yeah, but absolutely. He went invincible, right? But when you look at David Raya, do you think that is a goalkeeper that everybody in the world would want? No. And I want everybody in the world.
Bayern Munich wanted him. Arsenal wanted him. Tottenham wanted him. A lot of clubs wanted him.
Tottenham wanted him. Exactly.
Chelsea wanted him also.
Exactly. And look at the state of them, Agal.
Listen, I'm just saying, I think David Raya is a good keeper. I think you guys need to understand that.
So do I.
I think
I don't want him gone. I don't want him gone. Get him out of the team again.
I think there's a lot of areas where we can fix, but the issue that we have is Ramsdale might want to leave, and the club might have made a mistake in keeping him after bringing in Raya in the first place.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that the $100,000 contract for Ramsdale was stupidity. If we knew we were getting Raya in,
left on a free.
Well, no. What I mean is, I could understand it, but didn't he have like 2 years left? Did he have 2 years left?
He would have 1 year left after this summer. Basically.
Yeah. So what I mean is, like, to up his wages, if we knew Raya was coming in, why not just let him go? Because his price was the highest it was going to be for Ramsdale. He just got on team of the season, British quota. So if we knew, we should have moved him on. What I meant earlier about...
issue, though. There's one issue, my friend. The issue is...
Here we go.
Bro, we know this. Like, he's saying the same things that we know.
Here we go. Yeah, but it's just nice to get a here we go.
He said here we go already, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I don't know if he did actually. I think it was like...
I'm not going to lie to you.
It's like really close. It's really, really close now. It's really close. Here we go.
I no longer get excited about this because the level of foreplay before the signing has ruined the excitement.
Quick question. Well, is he using a bit of Manscaped on his face there? Because he's looking pretty trim there, Dan.
He is looking very trim, man. Very, very
If he's not, is it 20% off?
Listen, absolutely. And do you know what? How many likes have we got at the moment, people? Because there's nearly 700 people in here. Should be on 300. We're just on 300. Let's get up to 400, please, people. And click in the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Actually, it'll be even easier for you. Go to Manscaped. 20% off of the beard hedger. Go and sort it out, people. Yeah, listen. Here we go.
Smooth, right?
Well, look. I've got to say, look, he is a good looking boy, isn't he? I mean, I must say that is ridiculous, mate. If he looks like that, wow, you're very lucky. But here we go, Romano. 4 minutes ago, Calafiori to Arsenal. Here we go. Bologna and Arsenal.
Here we go.
Exchange documents right now, all sorted between Bologna and Basel. Calafiori will sign a 5-year deal, no option for a €4 million season net. Medical in the United States, deal done and story confirmed. Boom.
Any money, the first tweet under that tweet, I think, is somebody hating on Arsenal for signing that player.
Someone hating on
because
probably.
4 million.
Probably.
4 million. Is that like
that's the
what wages are we talking? Yeah, so what's that? That's good wages for us. He's got to be on Kivior kind of
what
level
is that?
there.
4 million divided by what per week?
52. So 4 million divided 52 weeks. Let's work that out. Anyone good at maths? That is good wages, isn't it? So we got.
What is he making?
He's on about 77. Yeah, 77 grand a week.
Hey, he's less than Eddie Nketiah, so that's a win.
Hey, that was quick maths. That what's Kivior on? He's on similar, I'm sure.
Yeah, Calafiori finally has landed. Listen, the deal was always going to get done.
Big up Don, man. Make sure you're subscribing to Don, man. Don's flying.
Don probably did some recruitment on Calafiori when he was linked to Chelsea.
Well, Don has actually confirmed that they have got the new Saka last night. He texted me. Tariq George is the new Saka. Actually looks like Saka as well, by the way. Yeah, like real talk. It's scary how much he looks like Saka, man. Anyway, honestly, do me a favor.
Saka from Wish.
Put in Tariq George in Google, people, and just look at him. It looks just like him. It's mad. But there we go.
Is that one picture? Is that one picture where he's wearing the? Yeah, he definitely does.
Jeez, he does.
It's scary, isn't it?
Can I share it?
Yeah, of course, man. Go on.
This is scare people.
Honestly,
Which picture was it? I seen a picture. That doesn't look like Saka to you? It does.
Yeah.
Proper. Yeah.
But then when you see close-ups, you know this is Saka. This is literally looks like Saka. What?
Yeah, there we go. That one. That is so scary, man. Honestly, that is absolutely mad.
Yeah, BTEC Saka. Saka from Wish.
Yeah. Well, not according to Don, man. Look, it's the upgraded version. He wishes, man. He wishes. I've never known someone hate on Saka.
He's even gonna get game time. Anyways, they got a lot of kids. Eventually, some of them are just gonna get sold.
Yeah, man. They're linked with another goalkeeper. He's 22 years old.
They said young goalkeeper. They finally said they're not getting Ramsdale officially. They're like, yeah, we're out on Ramsdale. By the way, what you said about Ramsdale, there's a small market of teams that can actually afford Ramsdale's wages plus his signing fee. That's the problem that we have. But you know what the good thing is? The player who's the most, I think Emil Smith-Rowe will become Arsenal's new record sale.
Yeah,
because his wages are dirt cheap compared to everybody else. He's only making like 30K a week. I wouldn't be surprised if we get 40 mil for him.
I was talking to Tom Canton about this. So, like, people getting really annoyed about kind of the 25 mil being banded around about ESR. And I say, well, Crystal Palace's record is in the 20 mils, you know, Fulham's is. So these are like going to be record signings if someone buys ESR for 30 up to 40 mil. And people forget this. We get so caught up on, you know, this player's going for this much, this player's going for this much. ESR is going to be a record signing for one of these clubs. So
do we even want record signings though? Because that would mean we'd be selling someone like Saliba to Real Madrid for a record signing. I don't want that. If it means we keep our best players, who gives a shit about record signings, in my opinion?
Mate, your record signings need to get better. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, record sales. Do you care about record sales if it means we keep our best players?
No, listen.
No.
We got to keep up. We can't be going and doing anything madness like go and send Saka or something crazy.
Somebody said to me the other day, I wouldn't be surprised if Gabriel Magalhaes was sold in like a year's time because of this Calafiori deal. I'm like, what? That's a bold take. Basically
I've heard
saying
Magalhaes and Martinelli, a lot of people are saying, because of Williams coming in or a player coming in like that and Calafiori coming in. I don't. There's always going to be that. There's always going to be rumors. When players come in, there's always going to be rumors that players go out. But you've got to be looking at the Eddies, the Nelsons, the Smith-Rowes, the Vieiras, the Kiviors, the Zinchenkos. They're the guys that have got to go first, man. 100%. But
well, at the end of the day, if we
Alex.
sell someone, if we get better and then we win a Premier League, we win a Champions League, I don't care who leaves. Like, as simple as that. We sell a Martinelli, we sell a Saliba, God forbid, we sell a Saka. If we win the Prem, we win the Champions League, and I know some people are going to hound me for this, saying that selling Saka. I don't want them to leave. I want to win with them. But if we have to let a Martinelli go to progress the squad, so be it. It was a couple of years ago, people going, Tierney's going to be our captain of our club. Now everyone's going, we got to get rid of him. Panicking because he's injured. Oh, we can't get rid of him.
We rejected 55 million for Hector Bellerin.
Yeah, I remember Barcelona.
Yeah.
Matteo Guendouzi.
What the hell were we smoking?
I don't know. Matteo Guendouzi was like, PSG and Barca want him for 50 million. And then I remember Maitland-Niles once, Wolves were like 25 million, and we were like, no, and we let him go on a free. It's just mad, honestly. It's absolutely crazy. So we have got some wrong. We've got to get better at that. But listen, people, we're going to wrap it up there. Absolute legends, both of you, for coming on. Igal, shout out your stuff, man. How can people follow you, bro?
Oh, yeah. Guys, Igal Talks Football. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. And, of course, if you guys want to check me on Twitter, it's EGTV Igal. And, yeah, by the way, last year people were crying, don't sell Balogun. Good thing we sold him.
Yeah, man. He's one of our records as well, man. Big up. Igal, you're a legend. Thanks for coming on, man. Alex, shout out your stuff, man. What are you up to? How can people follow you?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube, Faller on Football. I do the Canon podcast, so hopefully Dan and Igal will be on soon as well. You can catch me on Twitter, well, X. I'm pretty old, so I still call it Twitter. But I Faller on Footy, same on Instagram, same on a little bit of TikTok as well.
Excellent. Listen, people, do me a favor, hit a like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you're following both these guys as well. We're very close to 22K, which is the next target. Our next big target, of course, is 30. So let's hope that we can get there, please. And listen, I want you to do me a favor. This is going to redirect you to Staffy. Go and see Staffy and Northside going at it. So please make sure you jump in the chat there and say, Dan Potts sent me, 12th man sent me, whatever you want to do. Take it easy. We'll see you next time. And up the Arsenal. Latest, people.
Peace.